Hi, it's Lee from ColouringQueen.net, and today I want to show you my new Japanese colouring book. I'm not really sure of what the name is, but I think it translates to something like the painting lesson. So it's not as big as you might think, so let's put it up against Joanna's Magical Jungle, and we can see that it's quite a bit smaller width-wise. And there it is down the side. So it's a little bit, one finger smaller that way, and a few fingers smaller that way. So not quite as big as you might think, and not as big as some other Japanese colouring books that you might have already seen. So I've got a glossy dust jacket on here, and it's very glossy, lovely pictures on the back, and this lovely shop scene on the front. Now when we dive inside, you'll see why this one's different and why it translates to the painting lesson. There's the front cover reprinted on the white card cover. There's nothing on the inside of the dust jacket. We've got a nice lime green here to start the book off. And at the back we've got those protective pages in the lime as well, and also a lovely illustration on the back as well. Now we'll see why this is called the painting lesson. As you can see, it has details on how to actually colour the book in. So let's start. Now we've got this coloured illustration here and a picture of, in colour, all the coloured drawings that you'll learn the lessons for in the book, and then have the thumbnails of those to colour them in. So you start off with doing something simple like the Easter eggs, and there's the coloured version and there's the line art for it. And as we progress through the book, you'll obviously expand your skills and techniques, etc., to be able to colour in all of the illustrations that are included. So most of it is lessons, which of course we can't read because they're in Japanese, but there are pictures and hopefully we can follow along. Now they are in watercolors, and they've got their Staedtler pencil sharpener, recommended Tombow eraser, some tissues, some water barrel pencils. I'm not sure what brand of pencils these are, I can't quite see the writing, but I'll have a look and see if I can tell you. Some techniques for filling up your water barrel and blotting it on a piece of tissue, and the types of dabbings that you can do with your actual watercolour pencils. So this will be interesting because it's all, watercolours. So here's our colour palette from our set of pencils, and some techniques over here, and then some colour blends, so blending things out into form different colour spectrums, and some shading and whatnot. Now I really wish that there was a translation here, but I think if we studied the pictures enough, that we should be able to figure out what they meant. But it would be so much easier if it was in English. So that was chapter 1, and now this is chapter 2, and what our purpose here is to learn how to do the Easter eggs with the cute little bunny in it. And it's step by step, and so they take you through the whole of learning how to colour these in, which is really terrific. And then once we've done that one, we progress to something a little bit harder, which is the pancake stack. And then we've got the hat with the little kitten in it and the flowers. And it's nice the way that they've got the step-by-steps and they're showing you what they're doing. It's also nice to have a book, that you can use your watercolours in. And so now we're getting even harder because we're getting into people and hair and all of that sort of thing. Yeah, it's nice that you can see these techniques and see how they're just dabbing little dots and then they go over it to get that different effect. So even though it's not in English, if you look at it enough times and have a little bit of practice, maybe on a spare bit of paper, you should be able to pick up, you know, quite a lot. So in this one we've got all sorts of things with dimension, like the roundness on the bell, the water drops on the leaf, and the cube shapes here of the gift boxes. So quite a lot of techniques there to learn, and that's all been explained in the pictures. And these are all presented on a lemon background. Now obviously you don't have to follow the instructions. Obviously colour these however you want and use whatever colour palette that you want. But if you want a painting lesson and want to, you know, understand the watercolours and colour the way that this artist is directing you, then of course you can follow along that way. But like all colouring books, you can do whatever you fancy. And so now we're getting even harder with things like the wood techniques there. So as we progress through the book, the lessons are becoming a little bit more advanced, which is great because you can apply these lessons to other colouring books that you have as well. And now we are finally at the line art, and this is where you take on board your lessons and you colour in the pages. Now the paper is white for the line art section, and it is a medium quality paper, medium sturdy, so you will need to make sure that you don't overly wet the page. But it is, you know, slightly stronger than a normal medium weight paper, so it's a little bit more sturdy. But just, you know, as always, make sure you don't wet the page too much. Now, some of the illustrations do run up here into the spine, so making it a little bit trickier to colour in. But it is folding down pretty nicely, so it should be easy enough. Now, we do have the illustrations on both sides of the paper. I think it would have been nicer had they been on single-sided paper, but a lot of expense has gone into the book with the colour printing, etc. So maybe that was a reasoning. And again, this image is running up here into the spine, but it is folding over pretty easily, considering I've only leafed through it a few times. Now here we have another one that's running right against the spine here, and you know, this image, it could have been positioned just a little bit better to avoid that area, but you know, in the printing process these things are really tricky to work out. So the last couple of illustrations, again, all running up into that spine, but again, hopefully you can negotiate around it. And that's it for our lovely painting lesson. Hope you enjoyed that colouring book review, something different. Until next time, happy colouring.